morning, everyone, and welcome to another Triangular Talk session. My name is Shreya Kalyan, and I am the CEO of Agora Math Circle. I hope you guys have been having a great couple months to this 2024, and let's hope that the rest of the year is just as great. So, Triangular Talks is a forum for students to interact with and hear directly from industry executives across various companies and organizations about how they use STEM concepts and problem-solving skills in their day-to-day work life. However, today we have a very special session planned. One of the main worries for a high school student, and I guess parents as well, is the entire college application process. Many people tell you different things, and it's hard to tell you what's accurate and what's not. And most of the cases, they're both right in their own way. And that can be very confusing. And it's kind of hard to say, or it's easy to say that the entire college process is like that. But it doesn't have to be confusing. Through the experience of myself and many other students, our speaker today has come up with some advice to those curious about the college application process. She has definitely helped me a lot with my application, and my process has become so much easier because of her. I didn't have to worry about all the confusing little details about my application and just focused on projecting what I wanted to project. Additionally, I want to shout out some of our amazing student volunteers who have gotten into some really impressive colleges this year, such as IVs and many of our top UC schools. With that, I'd like to welcome today's speaker, Mrs. Chitra Jayaraman. She is a dedicated member of the Math Circle's board of directors since 2015 and brings a wealth of experience as a software engineer with diverse interests spanning academia and health. Her journey into understanding the intricacies of the U.S. education system began during her children's elementary school years, leading to invaluable insights she now shares with the community. Inspired by her son's successful college admissions, she passionately imparts her wisdom and experience as a pastime. Moreover, she has recently embarked on a new endeavor championing health and well-being within the community. Please welcome Mrs. Chitra Jayaraman to talk about the 3 A's of college admissions.
Thank you, Shreya, and good morning, everyone. And I'd like to take a moment to congratulate all the volunteers and students that have got into very, very great colleges. I've been hearing news every single day from Agora Math Circle, and I'm really excited and I'm really proud of all those volunteers and students who got into great colleges. They have got into IVs, top UCs, top colleges from other state. Really, I take a moment to appreciate all of those. Let me start with my presentation. Okay, are you able to see my screen? I've shared my screen. Oh, no, I haven't.
No, we haven't.
Okay.
Yes, we can see.
Okay. So today we are going to talk about the 3 A's of college admission. So before I dive in, I'm going to just tell a few things about me. Like Shreya introduced me, I'm a software engineer by profession. I had a dream of becoming a doctor when I was young, right? But then I lost that seed by 0.03 of a mark. And being like any other Indian, I ended up earning a bachelor's in computer science and engineering from Madurai Kamaraj University in India. And then I migrated to the US in the year 2000. Since my childhood, I had passion for academia. I wanted to become a teacher, but then now I am here, an engineer. So I thought, okay, let me build a school, okay? And now I moved to the US, so I couldn't do that either. So I tried to use the resources, what was available to me. So I started understanding how the education system worked in the US when my son started his elementary years. By the way, I have 2 kids. My elder one is a son who is a junior in UC Berkeley. And my younger daughter, she is a freshman in high school. So when my son started his elementary years, I started to understand how this US education system worked because I did not study in this country. So I would go to all the meetings that these high schools conducted for their high school students. I would go to college fairs. I'd go to libraries that conducted free programs. I would literally go to every single thing that I would hear of. So then later I started hearing these unpredictable college admission results, right? That stirred more curiosity in me. So then in 2021, my son applied for his college, and we had a very successful admission season that year for him. He got into almost all colleges that he had applied. So then I wanted to find out, okay, what is that is working? What is that that's not working? Let me try to understand. Okay. I don't know if you would have a complete answer for that, but we'll try to break that and see how that goes. That's the whole reason why I'm here today, to share whatever I have learned in the process. And I've spoken to so many volunteers within Agura Math Circle. We have shared and bounced ideas around this. So we'll try to present all of those in this session. So though I wanted to become a doctor and I'm not a doctor, the dream is still remotely alive in me. So I try to advocate health and well-being amongst people, so we all grow healthy. So that's about me. So Shreya, can we get a poll to judge the crowd, right? So what kind of people we are having here?
1 second, there are technical difficulties.
Okay.
It's not letting me send the poll anymore.
Okay, I think we should be okay. You think I can move on?
Yeah, you can just ask them to send it in chat. We're seeing a lot of responses there.
Yeah. Can just the elementary school kids or parents let us know E in your chat, so we get an idea of how many? I would like to just know E for now. Okay, that gives me a good idea. Can the ones from middle school, can you all send a note as M in the chat? Okay, thank you. How about high school? A H in chat. That gives me a pretty good idea. So we do have a lot more high schoolers and middle schoolers. So I will try to go at that level. But yes, definitely I will tell stuff which would be applicable for elementary school as well. So yeah, I earlier congratulated the volunteers and students. I just had a slide just in case anybody missed. 20 of our volunteers and students have been admitted to great colleges this season to attend schools in 2024 fall. So I really like to congratulate all of them. So now what is the purpose of this meeting, right? So as I said earlier, we are trying to share all our experiences that we went through the college application and admission process. I want to make few things clear, that we are not experts, nor are we a counseling organization, right? Nobody can predict the outcome. If at all somebody could predict, we should already be having so many algorithms out there, and we should be much more happier than than how we are today. And nobody would really be showing up here. So the other thing is, there is really no pattern or a one size fit all solution for this whole process. We are just attempting to share our collated experiences observed over the past few years. The best thing for you would be to take whatever we discuss here today and then build upon it as per your own needs. It needs to be individualized for your own needs, and you just try to apply what you learned from here today. So I just want that to be clear. And then we will start. We'll start with a story, right? So on the screen, I have listed 5 students. If you see 4 of those students, all of them had all A's in their academic areas. All 5 students did somewhat similar 5 to 6 extracurricular activities. And the SAT score was slightly different for each student. So if you consider UC, they don't consider the SAT score, is what they say. But then there are colleges which do. And if you take student number 2 and 3, if I ask you who should be admitted and who should not be, just take a moment to look at student 2 and 3. Most of you would tell me student 3 should be admitted and student 2 should not be. Okay, that is what most of you would tell. But if you look at it, it has been the other way, right? Student 2 was admitted, whereas student 3 was rejected. Similarly, if you go into checking student 4 and 5, they both are exactly same when you look at the on paper. But then student 4 was accepted and student 5 was waitlisted. And this is a confusion what all of us come up with, right? Why is this even happening? What is the pattern here? Now, we will try to feel this problem and understand what is really happening here. So before I go there, this slide is very important for me, right? So when you go ask any student, why do you go to school? Why do you go to this high school? They would say, oh, I need to get good grades so that I can get into a good college. Okay, that's what their answer is most likely to be. And then if you go and ask somebody in a university, they are going to say, oh, I need to get into a very good job, so I need to go to the specific college. So getting into a good college is a goal, and getting a good job is a goal, right? So after you get all those, what is going to happen? What is going to happen after you end up where you want to end up? Are you really equipped to use all the resources that you are getting in school, college, or in life? I don't think the kids even understand that, right? They don't understand that there are so many resources available that they are supposed to use, but their mind is all set towards that goal, get into that college, get into that job, right? So I want to keep this in mind because at the end, I'm going to revisit and say why this is very, very important. So just keep this at the back of your mind as we go through the next slides. Okay, if you ask any high school student, this is what their mindset is, right? Okay, I need to get a high GPA, good. I need to get good test scores, good. Then they say I need to play a sport or multiple sports. I know of students who play 3 sports in high school. And then they want to do a music, they want to be a member in infinite clubs, they want to do a certain thing because rest of their classmates are doing it. And they feel if they don't do it, then they are going to fall behind. And then they do certain things because they know of somebody who did that and got into good colleges. So this is all doing things because somebody did it or somebody is doing and I'm not doing it, or they assume if they do it, they will get into good colleges. But how many of these are they really enjoying, right? To be very frank, when my son was in elementary and middle years, when I used to attend these sessions, right, they would always tell me, okay, do it with passion, do things that you enjoy, right? Those were just words to me at that time. But now when I say do things that you enjoy, I mean every single word that I'm telling. And you will be able to relate this at the end of this presentation. Okay, I truly mean when I say do things that you enjoy. And the other thing we need to keep in mind is quality over quantity. But most of the high school students that I see now is quantity. Okay, I don't think they even pay any attention to the quality of work that's taking place. Now, what are the 3 A's, right? So I just have these 3 A's here. The 3 A's are the academics, the activities and awards, and application. Okay, we will go into each one in detail in the following slides. To me, these three are 3 pieces of a puzzle, okay, something like this. And they should fit perfectly fine to form the puzzle, and puzzle should be tightly fit. That is how I look at it, right? Now, each piece is a piece puzzle by itself, okay? I'm not going into the details, but when we discuss about academics, you will understand what are the various other pieces of that. But what I see is kids do all of this. I'm not saying they don't do, right? All students do academics, all students do activities, awards, application. But where they miss is the puzzle doesn't get formed the way it's supposed to. They may do things, everything is loosely hanging in there, they don't fit in together well. So at the end of it, we don't know who you are and why you even did all those stuff. Okay. So just think of this as a puzzle, and then let us go into the details of each of these first to understand what they are. And after we get a good understanding of these three, I'll come back to how it will fit into a puzzle. Okay, when it comes to academics, there are various areas, right? The first one is the school course. So kids would say, oh, I need to get into that honors class or the AB or the IB. What colleges are looking are for rigorous courses that the student can handle. Most of the cases, what we end up doing is we only read the first part. They only read the rigorous school courses, and we miss that the student can handle part, right? So we overwhelm ourselves with so many courses, and we end up harming our GPA at the end of it, right? So please pick courses which the student can handle without slipping the GPA into a very bad shape, right? So talking about GPA, I need to touch a few things here, right? Most of you might know that you have 3 different types of GPAs. They call it as an unweighted, weighted, and capped GPA. So as the name says unweighted, they're not giving weight to any of the course that you take. Everything is considered the same. That's why it is called unweighted. So what is weighted then? Weighted GPA takes into account a GPA grade where the honors, AP or IB gets an additional point towards it. Okay. So in case of AP, what would happen is if a regular course has a 4, AP will have it as a 5. So that's why, because you're adding some weightage to this course, because it's more rigorous. Okay. So we need to make sure you have a good unweighted GPA, weighted GPA, and capped GPA. So in weighted GPA, for all APs and IBs, they will give you a higher credit. But in capped GPA, they would limit or they will cap the number of APs they are going to give you the credit for. And this capped is only used in UCs. I don't think the other colleges use it. We may calculate our GPAs however we want. The school may calculate it however they want, but the colleges are going to calculate it based on their own formula. So you only provide what you take in high schools, and the colleges are going to determine that. So we don't have to worry too much about that. But our goal is to take as many rigorous courses as possible that you can handle. Now, the second one is the dual enrollment classes. Many people would have known. For those who do not know, while you are in high school, you may be able to take courses in your community colleges. Because you're enrolled in your high school and also in your community college, they call it as a dual enrollment. So now, few things to keep in mind here is each school district is different. Okay. So some school district could be lenient about it. Some school districts are very strict about this. And I noticed few things as I saw the certain schools in our area. Some school districts only give you a GPA of 4 for the courses that you take in community college, whereas some schools will give you a GPA of 5. Okay, so you talk to somebody in some school district, and then they say, okay, they are getting a good GPA because they took courses here. Just don't go blindly take it, right? You do your homework based on your school, the courses that your school will allow, and whether it's going to affect you or it's going to credit you with more GPA. Okay, do all those homework or talk to your seniors in your school who may have done that. And without having that knowledge, please do not do such kind of stuff. Okay, it's okay to do, but get in knowing what you're getting into, right? So that's very crucial with this. Then enrichment classes, right? You don't have to do everything for your grade or for college admission, right? So enrichments are very good. So when I earlier said, whenever you do activities, you do it with passion, right? So showing your passion is one way by taking some enrichment classes that you really have passion for. So go ahead and enjoy some classes that you really love. That way you may be able to show how passionate you are about that. And then the next is AP and IB exams, right? The scores are very, very, very important in the recent past years. I see many students will take the AP course in school, okay, because it bumps their GPA up. So they just take it, but they do not take the AP exam towards the end of the year from college board. That's not a good thing to do, right? If you're taking an AP class in school, please make sure you take your college board exam at the end of the year. Colleges do look at it. And now they are looking at the scores, and that is playing a role in the admission process. So if you really look at it, UCLA, Berkeley, and UC Irvine, they have specifically stated that they are using the score for the admission review. So now that we don't have SAT and ACT in the UC process, now this has become all the more important, okay? So do not take it lightly. I know in the past years, right, couple of years ago, like 6, 7 years ago, people would say, it doesn't matter what score I get in the AP exam. That's not the case anymore. So please don't take it lightly. And then the other advantage of these AP and IB exams, right? If you get a specific score, like a 3, 4, or a 5, some colleges will need a 5, some colleges may need a 4 or a 5, others might need 3, 4, or a 5. If you get those, you can place yourself out of your lower division classes in your undergrad years. Okay, the first and second year, the what they call as the length and breadth courses, right, in college, you could be placed out of those. For example, say you took AP Lang or AP Lit and you scored a 4 or a 5. Your college may say you will have to take 1 semester of English, right? You could place yourself out of it and not take English in high school. College. Similarly, for math and sciences, for everything, you could place yourself out and save yourself a year in college or a semester in college. Okay, that's a good thing. So try to take your AP exam seriously. Now, SAT and ACT exams, right? Before I go too much into this, first question that comes to everybody's mind is SAT good or ACT good, right? It doesn't matter, right? Every college takes both. Every college has a translation. Your score in SAT translates to another score in ACT and vice versa, right? You can take whichever exam that you're comfortable with. So it doesn't matter. So now recently they have changed the SAT to the digital format. And I heard from students that it's really, really hard. So we do not know. We don't have a judgment of how this is going to work. It'll take a couple of months before we get a handle of it, right? So it doesn't matter. Go ahead and try whichever exam is comfortable for you, but do not underestimate. Okay. I know students, they say like, UCs do not even look at these exams. Do I really have to take it? Why should I take it? You never know. UCs are in the plan of coming up with a new exam, but not SAT or ACT, something similar to this. One fine year when they come up, you may not have a practice of this, and it's going to be hard to adapt to that, right? So if you're in touch with SAT or ACT, it might be easy for you to get to do that exam better. And UCs are also, yeah, that's what I'm saying, not used for UC admission. So for your admission, they may not use it, but they can use it for your course placement, similar to the AP scores that I mentioned above. Now, SAT and ACT score can also be helpful to back you up for your PSAT. Say you scored well in your PSAT exam in your junior year, and say you became a semi-finalist. And when you want to apply for your finalist, you need another exam to back you up. So this SAT, ACT, if you're prepared and if you have it ready, that's a good thing for you. So do not procrastinate, plan it into your schedule, and do try to take your SAT and ACT. Now that's about the first A, which is the academics, right? Now the second A is activity and awards. So awards are honors, right? So you may be competing, competing in some tournaments, a sport, a music, or speech and debate, or model UN, or whatever, right? Or even a science fair project. So any such thing, whatever awards you win, could range from your organizational award to an international award. So like you see, the prestige is more, right, when it is an international level. So those are going to be documented in your application at some point, right? So those are the awards. Educational prep programs. The kids who are doing IB, they get an IB, they can choose to get an IB diploma, right? So that is one called as a prep program. And Cosmos, the one from UC, they also fall under the prep programs. And specifically for UC, if you go to their websites, they will tell you which are all the prep programs, educational prep programs. Okay, so you can Google that and find those information. Now, this extracurricular activities. So to me, in the activities, two things are very, very important. One is extracurricular activities and the other one is volunteering. I'll come to that in the next slide. I give a lot of importance to these, but you have to give importance to everything. You don't have to do everything, but you should at least do a couple of things from this, right? Why extracurricular activity is so key for me is because this is what molds you. Okay, this is what makes you a person. You grow from this, right? So this is very, very crucial for me. And it could be sports, music, and whatever I have listed here, right? Beyond this, passion project is something that people really don't think of. A student could be so passionate about something, right? They don't have to be part of any of these to do that, okay? In their free time, they may be doing a wonderful art project or some science project or some coding project, whatever that is, okay? That's a very good extracurricular activity. They don't have to shy away from that. That really is building their passion and building them as a person. So do any of these because you like it, not because you want to get an admission. Trust me, if we do with the attitude that I'm doing this for admission, it will show up in their essays, okay? Knowingly or unknowingly, the way you come through in your activity description or in your essays, you're going to show that, okay? You think you are not, but it will come out because that's what you have in your mind. I'm doing this because I want college admission, okay? So do it with some passion. And now here, another thing I want to really emphasize is the leadership, right? Most kids do extracurricular activities because they want to show leadership. So they will join some club, one club, two club, 10 clubs in high school in their freshman year. And they will try to see which one can I grow and become a president or a vice president at the end of their senior year or the end of their junior year, right? That's why they end up being in so many clubs. infinite number of clubs in high school. Now just think about it, right? There are at least 50 clubs in every single high school, right? So say even if each club has 4 positions, leadership positions, right? So you already have what, 200 leaders in your high school? So if I am an application or a reader, I'm going to see almost every application will have some officer position, if not one more. And how am I going to differentiate one from the other, right? I cannot say, okay, all presidents become number 1, all vice presidents number 2. No, that's not how I'm going to be able to decide. It's going to be you who is going to tell me what you have done there, right? To me, I see 2 kinds of leaders. A leader who has a title, who doesn't do anything, or they do something, right? And I see these people who are just members. They don't have a leadership role, but then they are contributing so much to that club or to that activity, okay? To me, the second person is a leader, okay? The person with title is good, well and good. There could be great presidents who do great work, or there could be presidents who do nothing, right? So how is the admission officer going to decide? Is you telling them what you are, who you are, okay, what you have done for the activity. So keep that in mind. Just chasing for a role and not knowing why we are even doing this is going to harm rather than benefit from that. So I really want to emphasize on that leadership stuff. And then we have something called as enrichment coursework. Any course that you would have taken based on leadership or religious, your certifications, or any online courses from other universities. So those could be your activities. The next one is community service, volunteering, right? This is a big thing for me. Like I said, your extracurricular activity and this community services, volunteering are 2 big things. This is going to make you the person who you are, right? You're going to grow. You're going to grow really well with these experiences. In both the extracurricular activities and community service, you may meet so many people. You may run into conflicts. You will learn how to resolve a conflict. That will invariably make you as a leader. Or you may make a mistake, and then you will learn about it, and then you grow as a person, and then you don't make that mistake again. Those are huge things that can happen out of these 2, right? So giving back to the community as a volunteer, for example, these volunteers at Agora Math Circle, right? So this is a huge cause. Yes, there can be challenges. If there are challenges, don't run away from it, okay? Just stay there, learn, grow out of it. So that's a very good thing in these opportunities. Now, there are some volunteering which looks for your immigration status and stuff, right? But there are so many, similar to Agora Math Circle. You don't need to be having any specific immigration status. Anybody could volunteer here. Any high schooler should be able to volunteer here. Similarly, in local hospitals and then shelters. So please go ahead and do all your volunteering and mingle with people, learn from them. You add value to that community where you're volunteering. This is a very good thing to do. And then work experience is straightforward, right? You may be doing some unpaid or paid internship or research internship. Those all comes under this. And scholarship, if you had applied for any scholarship and if you have won anything, then that comes as part of this activity or the awards. So this is the second A of our 3 A's. Now the third A is the big thing, okay? You may not be able to relate why it is a third A until a couple of slides later. So application is actually when everything is done and you're going to send in your application to the colleges. So in this step, what you would do is you would fill out all academic stuff that you have done throughout your high school. Then 2 other things, right? Your second A, description about your activities and the personal insight questions. Now, there is a reason why I'm saying the elephant in the room is the description about your activities and personal insight questions. Now, before I move on to the next slide, I want you to remind yourself. Initially, I said, do everything with some passion, okay? Do things that is interesting you. Don't do things because of peer pressure, right? So keep that in mind when I talk about this elephant in the room later. Now, before we go through why these two are so critical, let us see what is expected from the colleges, right? So these are the college expectations. So if you look at MIT, I specifically highlighted those words in blue because that's the one I'm more interested in, right? So MIT is telling that I'm not looking for applicants to have cured all infectious disease by the time they are 15. They say, I'm good with a kid who tutored a single kid in math, and that changes the entire world. Okay, they are good with that. We think, oh, MIT means you have to be somewhere, we have to done something, right? They say, no, that's not what we are looking for. Even if you made a small impact, we are good with that. And the last statement, they're saying earlier, when I said GPA and all those stuff, right? I need to remind two things. In UC application, the University California application, or any state application for that matter, right? They usually GPA is calculated, right? So GPA cannot be compared between two schools, right? So suppose my child goes to school A and your child goes to school B. School A, say, is offering all APs possible. School B is not offering as many. They restrict the number of APs, which means school A will always have a higher GPA. So it's not fair to compare this student to the student in school B. So all state colleges, they do not compare student across schools, right? They'll only compare a student within the school's context. Okay. Whereas MIT and bigger, there's Ivy schools, what they are saying is it's more of a student-centered process. They take a student and they only look at the student as a whole. They don't look at the school or a region-centered process. Okay, that's how MIT functions. Now, when you look at Harvard, they say they look for strong personal qualities. This is very important, okay? I spoke about why you should do activities that interest you or the activities that you have passion for. Only when you have passion, you'll be able to bring up those personal qualities. It will become stronger, okay? And then perspectives formed by unusual personal circumstances. This is a big thing. If you don't put yourself in any circumstance, how are you even going to have an unusual circumstance? How are you going to form a perspective? If you don't volunteer or if you don't do any extracurricular activity, you're not putting yourself in any personal circumstance, right? Unless you do that, you're not going to get any of these. And this is why I'm emphasizing volunteering and extracurricular activities are two big things. And the last thing in Harvard is take advantage of available resources and opportunities. If you remember my very first slide, I asked why do kids go to school, right? They would say, I want to go to a good college or I want to get a job, right? That is their goal. They don't look at school as a tool, okay? It's a tool that will help you get where you want to get, right? So I have heard from many parents and students, oh, this school is not good, oh, that school is not good, they don't have this. As a human tendency, we only try to see what we don't have. We don't like to appreciate what we have and use it, right? That's a tendency. It's not wrong. Even I do that. Okay, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but if you keep in mind, if you can take advantage of what is available and get the best use of it, that's a big thing, right? So this is a very simple statement, but if you really look into it, then you'll start looking at school with a very different eyes. So you take advantage of the available resource and opportunities, okay? If you don't have something at your school, there are two things you can do. You can sit and complain and do nothing, or take advantage of what is available and move forward. So the choice is ours, right? Now, in Stanford, they're saying they want to see a genuine passion for their extracurricular pursuits. So this is what they call as each college have their own culture, right? They look for something. They see whether we fit into their college culture, right? So if you want to really look at many colleges, you need to go do these kind of researches, okay? Okay, what is this college looking for? Am I even going to fit in that? So now they're asking all of these after having a great stellar GPE, okay? They're not saying I only need this, right? You need to have an extremely good GPA, and beyond that, you need all of these. Now for UCs, right? So UCs are looking at, of course, reported grades. Okay, every college is going to look for that. Then they look at your extracurricular activities, personal insight questions. Keep this in mind. Okay, these are really, really critical. Then they want to see the full picture of a student's experience and aspirations. Okay, I highlight experience because if you don't put yourself in a circumstance, you'll never experience anything. And I see this commonly in many kids. They do things because they need to fill some form in the application. Okay. They are not doing it because they want to experience certain things. So let us start looking at it as an experience rather than as something to put on paper. So having looked at these college expectations at a high level, this is what is needed, right? You need rigor of academics, you need a GPA, application essay. Wherever applicable, you may need recommendations, you may need standardized scores. And in the extracurricular activities, talent or ability, character and personal qualities. Okay, I would like to highlight character and personal qualities. This doesn't build overnight. Okay, this needs to build over a period of time. Okay, so it can start either in your elementary years or in your 9th grade, but it will only grow so much. So it needs a lot of time to show this character and personal quality. Then volunteer work experience, and interviews whenever applicable. Now, with these expectations, I'm going to show you something. Okay, so all UCs, or rather not UCs, all colleges, they're supposed to publish what is called as a common data set. Okay, every year they're supposed to publish this common data set. And in that, so many things would be in that data set. But one of the area is they tell what is important for them or what is that they look at before admitting students into their campuses. So here I have only focused on UCs, but you can find it for Stanford, Harvard, and whatever college of your choice. You should be able to look it up. Because we are located in California, I just took a few of these examples. Now, how you read it is, these are all the colleges. And these are all the areas: rigor, GPA, essay, extracurricular, character, volunteer, work, talent, first generation, state of residence, and geographical area of residence. These are the parameters that these colleges are looking at. And I have ranked it this way, okay? Whenever a college says 1, they're saying it's very important for them. For example, for Berkeley, rigor, GPA, and essay, these 3 are very, very important. And number 2, right? These things, the extracurricular to work, these 4 entities are important. And they consider these talent, first gen, and there are other parameters that they do not even consider. So that's how this is laid out. Now, if you really look at for all the campuses, right, invariably GPA and essay and rigor are very important. Okay, they are all ones. They are all marked as ones, very important for all the campuses. Now, GPA and rigor is very objective, right? You take a transcript of a student, you should be able to really tell, okay, within the school, okay, this GPA is good. And within the school, the rigor of the student seems to be good. So it's a very objective thing that you can measure. How about essay? Essay could be anything from anybody, any experience, any topic, 4 out of the 8, or how many ever out of the other colleges that they ask for, right? It's a very objective thing depending on your reader and stuff, right? Now, so this has to be coming out very well. Essay has to look good. You need to be impressing the readers. How would you do that? It's not a school essay, right? You're not reading a book and you're coming up with some essay, right? This is you. The essay is you. And you can write a good essay only if you had done some volunteering and extracurricular activities and some character building, or probably even some work, right? Working is similar to volunteering, but with some pay, okay? So unless you have done all of these and built a character and you evolved as you will not be able to write a good essay, okay? Trust me, essay is not as easy as we think. You're going to tell who you are, and you need to be doing all of these in order to come up with this. Given that this is very important for the colleges, I believe we are slightly underestimating what we put in our essays. So now let us see. Now we talked about the three different A's. We said how these should fit together as a puzzle. And then we talked about how we should look at the activities and volunteering, not because I want to get into college, right? You do it with some passion and joy, because that is when your essay is going to tell it, right? What you have in your mind is what is going to come out. And if you don't have the right attitude, it's going to come out wrong. Even though you try to cover it up, it's going to come out wrong. So we saw all of this. We also saw that when you get into the school, right, don't look at school as a place to get to your goal, right? Look at it differently, okay? Instead of complaining, try to use all the resources available in your school and make the best out of it, okay? That builds your character within you. So try to do that. Now, having gone through all of this, let us see these points, what is very important and what pattern we have been seeing, okay? So the three A's, as I said, we want to make sure the puzzle fits well. The common thing we see is either the student would be missing out on one of the A's altogether. Okay, they may be very strong in one A, they may be like slacking on the rest of those. For example, they may be too good academically, they might have missed on their activities. So when you do the application, the puzzle is not fitting well enough. The other pattern we see is they would have done everything so well. Okay, they would have done extreme good academics, they would have done extremely good activities, they may even have awards, but the way they tell how they have done their activities may not be good enough, which means that is in the application part. That's why I said the two elephant in the room, right? You're not telling your activities to the level that you are supposed to do. You're not doing justice to yourself. That comes to this, right? When you're telling that kind of activities you did, what I see is students say, oh, I did this during this time, then this happened, that they're not telling you to tell, I did this kind of. Frankly, I've read activity descriptions like that, okay? That's not what they want. What they want to see is, this activity taught me this, and I became the person I am today. So it molded me, and I used that character of myself to give back to the community and made this kind of impact in the community, okay? So that is the thing that they are looking for in your activity description, not chronological order of what you did in your activity, right? That's not going to help anyone. So I have seen applications where they had stellar academics, stellar activities, but the way they conveyed the information wasn't good enough. Okay, yes, we have changed it, and that could have helped, but I'm just telling this out because people might not be aware of it. Similarly, with the personal statements, right? I'm sorry, I'm going out of order here. Yeah, I'm just talking here. So personal statements, right? The personal statements, the reader needs to know you and you only, okay? They don't want to know anybody else. So I'll give you a few examples of what we have seen. I have read less than 50 essays so far. And this is a pattern, and I have talked to people who have read essays. This is a pattern we usually see, right? So a few examples I will tell you about the personal statements, right? Writing negatively about something, okay? So nobody wants to see a negative connotation of something there. So even if it wasn't working out for you, you're not going to tell it in a negative tone. You'd rather say, I had a challenge, but then I learned this and I moved on and made a different change in myself and that and impact to the community. Okay. You could tell it in a different way, but not directly pointing out or telling negative about other things. And the second kind of example I would say is when somebody is asking you who inspired you, right? I have read an essay where the whole essay was about Nelson Mandela, right? They didn't ask about Nelson Mandela. This is not a school essay where you're talking about something. You have, say, 250 words. What they want to know is how Nelson Mandela was your inspiration and what did you learn from him and what change came to you because of that and how you use that to better either your situation or some club or some community or something of that sort. So they really want to know you, not about Nelson Mandela. So that's something they sidetrack and tell like 200 words of Nelson Mandela and 100 words of themselves, right? It doesn't do any justice. And then the third thing is a hardship, right? When somebody asks about a hardship, most of the time people will talk about their parents going through hardships and how hard they raised the student and all sorts of things, right? The admission officer doesn't need to know about your parents' hardships, right? They would want to know about your hardship and how you came out of it, okay? A single sentence about your parents' hardship is okay, but not the entire or three-fourths of the essay, even not half of the essay with their hardships. And then the next thing we see is fancy vocabulary, you know. People think it's a contest. So they take the thesaurus, they try to use all fancy words, which even they may not know how to use it right? So that's another thing we usually see. Here, I don't think, as long as you don't have a grammatical errors and stuff, I think we are okay. It should be easy to read, okay? We don't know who the reader is. The reader, whoever be the reader, whatever their mindset is, your essay should be captivating. They should be able to read and understand it, okay? You don't want it to be so fancy that they don't want to read it, okay? So that's one thing we usually see. And other two things we see is they procrastinate so long that at the end, the statement doesn't turn out to be good. That's one pattern. And then fitting into a topic, right? The prompt would be something, but the response would be not fitting to what the prompt is even asking for. So these are the various patterns that we are seeing in the personal statements. And same with the activity description, as I said, right? So these two are really the elephant in the room. Even though the student has done everything right, if they did not get in, probably they have missed out on something in conveying. They did not convey it well enough. Okay, so that's why they both are the elephant in the room. Now, major selection. Okay, I'll just go back to here. Major, right? There are three terms that you guys need to know: impacted, selective, and capped major. Okay, these three terms are used interchangeably. Okay, they mean the same. Each college might call it differently. One might call it impacted, the other might call it capped. So it all means the same. So what it really means is capped is, I think capped really describes it well, right? They are capping the number of people that can get into this major. That's why it's called as a capped major. It's basically the supply is very, very low, but then the demand is very high. So many people really want to get into this major. That is why they are capping the number of people that can get in. So if you are applying to one of these majors, yes, your chances are going to be hard. The admit rate is going to be low because say if there are 100 seats, 10 seats, okay, and 1,000 people apply, obviously the admit rate is going to be low. That is the only reason why it's hard to get in. So you would have noticed computer science and engineering almost in all colleges are impacted. but there are other courses as well which are impacted. If you go to the college's website and look for these capped majors or selective majors, you should come up with those list. Okay, we don't want to provide a list because this keeps evolving, right? Data science was not an impacted major a few years ago, but now since last year it's also an impacted major. So this keeps changing and evolving, and so you should do your homework to find out which ones those are. So now the next question immediately people would ask is, okay, I want to go to an impacted major. Can I apply to some other major and then go in and then change, right? Yes, that is a strategy, but you need to be aware of many things before you do that. You need to be really aware of what you're doing before you do that, right? See, all your academics, all your activities, everything would be catering towards STEM. Okay. So to me, science and technology, I think it's okay. You can apply one or the other. But I've seen people who wants to do everything computer science. Okay, all their courses, activities, everything will be computer science. But then later, because they think they can't get in, they will try to apply for a history or some unrelated major, right? That is a definite red flag. But even if you do something related, like physics or math, it's okay. But then if you do like completely unrelated, like English literature or something, that's going to raise the red flag. As long as you do whatever you do, and you can convey it well enough that I want to study this and be able to convince the reader, I think you're still okay. There are certain majors you cannot even go and change into, so be wary of them. Okay, so that's one thing about the major. And the last thing is, this is very crucial. Don't lose momentum at the end. I've seen people, right? They work so hard from their middle school years, ninth grade until 11th grade. And when it comes time to apply, they're kind of burnt out. It's not their fault. They really worked hard. They have everything in place. They have their academics, they have their activities, awards, and they're so burnt that they're not able to put their entire focus into their last A, which is the application. The application, the last A, is much more important than whatever you think it is, right? It's a lot more important. You may be able to do justice in your application part even without a good GPA. Okay, even if you had lost some GPA during one of your years, or you had a valid reason why that happened, if you have a strong application, you can still get into great colleges. So I know of myself and a couple of other volunteers from Math Circle. We know of cases where kids did go down in their GPA, but had an excellent essays and excellent application explaining their situation and getting into great colleges. So don't lose that momentum and don't lose heart even if you had got a couple of B's in your high school years. It's not end of the world. You can still have a very strong application and get there. And then next thing is few preparatory steps. I strongly recommend starting your freshman year. You should document all your activities, awards, accomplishments, everything. We have come up with a template and we have uploaded it into, I'll quickly show that. We have uploaded it into Agora Math Circle, resources.html. Here are the two. We have a brag sheet and college application tracking. I'll quickly go over this. This is the application tracking Excel sheet. In the application tracker, you can list all the, this is just a sample, okay? It's a template. You take a local copy, you edit it according to your own interest, okay? We just given the columns that will be helpful. So you list the colleges that you want. We also had the fees for each college, and then whether it's a private or is it an out of state or whatever. So this would help you make a decision which colleges to consider and all those. What major is this good for? What is the minimum GPA do you need? What is the minimum ACT score? What is the acceptance score? And then what is the chance? Okay, so you would have all of these. It will be a one-stop shop for everything. Here you would also have your login URL, user ID, and password. So once you apply, then to go and then see your results or any updates. So it's kind of pretty useful. You can build on top of it if you want to, but it's a very good place to start. So this academic sheet is nothing but a dump of your transcript. At the end, in the applications, you will have to enter a lot of details, right? Every time you don't want to go find your transcript, get all the information from multiple places, and then fill into your application. What we are suggesting is starting your freshman year, you gather all these information in the single place, okay? So ninth grade, as soon as you finish a semester, you enter all the details, your grades and everything. So you keep moving like this. And summer programs, what are the summer programs you have attended? What are the scholarships available? Have you applied anything? Have you got anything? And then what are the finances? You're supposed to apply for the FAFSA and CSS profile. Some take both, some needs one. So we have all sorts of this information. Any activities that you do from your freshman year, based on the year 9th grade, 10th, 11th, or 12th, you say what is the activity, how many hours have you put. If you want, you can add a date and then you can do it, okay? And then what are the awards that you have got? Trust me, when you come to your fall of senior year and you start thinking about all of these, you'll be so lost, you'll be spending a lot of time. Start documenting as and when it happens. So the only sheet you will need while you start your application is this one. And it'll be so super helpful. Trust me, it'll be very helpful. And then activities. There are various activities. This is very crucial. Description, right? I want you to write a 250 or a 350 word description here as and when you do it. I've been telling the elephant in the room that we are not giving enough justice by explaining what we do in those activities, right? So I really want you to put in some description for any activity that you do. You can edit it later, okay? Go up to 350 characters right now. You can update it later if you want to, but then when you write it, when you do right away, it's very good. Similarly here, we also say how many hours per week that we spent and how many hours we spent in the year. This is very helpful in the application, either in the UC application or in the common app, okay? So a lot of thought has gone into the format of this. This is a running template, okay? This will evolve as we move further, but this is a great place. Definitely benefit out of this template, okay? And similarly, we have a brag sheet. Some colleges require recommendation letters from school counselors and teachers and staff. So this is just a template. You put in your personal details. In experience, you talk about the organization and club membership that you have been doing. You can repeat it, right? You could have multiple organizations, you could have multiple clubs. Then you put in all the AP courses that you have done, the AP score and your grades, and any community college courses, test scores, and any projects, right? So you can repeat the projects here. And then which college and major you're interested in, and what do you think is a highlight of yourself, right? So you capture all of this. Some schools, you may be sending this brag sheet directly to your teacher and requesting for recommendation letters. Some schools have their own template, but you having it in this place would help. You will just copy this and put it in that template and send it out, okay? You won't spend a lot of time preparing it in the last minute. You may forget few things. So these two are very, very, very helpful. I strongly recommend that you, okay, 1 second, make use of this. So this is the documenting, and then brag sheet, I told all of these. And then start touring the campuses of interest, right? There is something called as a demonstration of interest. Mostly privates do that, is what I hear. It doesn't harm, right? If you have a campus close to your area, just go and tour the campus. Maybe you will get motivated. Maybe you will have some question, or maybe you will develop a new interest, or you may find an opportunity there. You never know. So tour the campuses, and that's a good thing to do. Even as a freshman, I don't think it's a bad idea. You can still go. And then starting your essays, right? We can have a separate session on this because it's a huge topic. But one pattern I see is people take the prompt and they try to fit them into the prompt. Okay, it doesn't work. Okay, it's like taking a dress and trying to fit ourselves into it, right? It's not going to work. To me, understand who you are. Talk to yourself, find out who you are. Okay, what are the qualities? What else that highlights you, right? Identify who you are and try to see where you fit in the essay rather than the other way around. So that's a very interesting topic to talk about. And then financial planning. I see many parents, this was advice from one of the senior parents I talked to. So they were mentioning that, yeah, we do everything. We don't talk finances to kid. And the kid would really work hard and get to whatever that college is. But then the parents are not ready, right? Yes, some private colleges are expensive. So there needs to be a conversation with the parent and children, and then see what is acceptable and what can be done and what cannot be done. And so it doesn't come out as a surprise. So I think as parents, we need to start doing the financial planning well, so we can support whatever decision. We just can't tell the kid, okay, you have to get this, and then at the end say, oh no, you can't go to this because it's too expensive, right? So we need to do our planning on our part. And few key takeaways, right? Like I said, don't look at the college as a goal, okay, or high school as a goal. Just it is a tool to attain your end goal. It's not the goal by itself. And it's a place to grow and gain insightful experience. So that would help you write good activities and essays for the colleges. But at the end of it, right, irrespective of where we end in college, we will feel good about who the person we are. So that's going to be pretty helpful. And this is, please don't do anything because of peer pressure. Okay, so start looking at school as a different eye, with different eyes starting today, and everybody will do great. And here I showed the resources.html where you can see the templates. And this is an email ID. If you have anything, you can email here. We'll try to respond back to all the emails. If there are way too many, we will see what we can do about that. Maybe we'll come up with some other plan. And we are planning for another session in May. Maybe Kalyan and Shreya can confirm that later, which will just focus on personal statements, because I said it's a topic by itself. And it's a lot more to discuss there. So I think this brings me to the end of my session, everybody. I hope I didn't bore anyone. Probably got something out of it. Please take this, do your own homework, and then build upon it. And I wish good luck to everyone. Thank you, Shia.
Oh, thank you for such an amazing presentation. I know that all this information will definitely help because it helped me. And I know a lot of you have been sending questions in the chat. So there is a Google form that you guys can send your questions to that will be answered in the future. We will be having more sessions because this is such an important thing for many students. The dates aren't confirmed yet, but we will be having more sessions about the college admissions process. And this will be uploaded to our YouTube channel when we get the chance. So once again, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to talk about your experience and help all these students. We had a great turnout today. And for everyone, have a great weekend. I hope you enjoy, and we will see you next time.
any questions, you can email info@agoramathcircle.org or comment below and we'll reply back. Maybe. And if you want to see practice things or anything about us, you can visit our website, which is basically the end of the email but without the info and the end. So bye!